Time is now 6:40. Call to order the regular meeting of the Troup City Council, March 10th, 2015. All members are present except Mr. Joe Carlisle. Mr. Hale, if you would open us in prayer.
Sure. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you, Lord. We praise you for all that you do for us. We thank you for this city. We just thank you for all the blessings that we have in the world that we live in. We ask you to give us discernment and clear thinking tonight as we try to make the best decisions for the city. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Everybody will stand join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Agenda item number 4, consider approval of the minutes of the regular scheduled meeting of February 10th, 2015.
I make a motion we approve the minutes from the regular scheduled meeting of February 10th.
Got a motion, is there a second? Okay, here's a second. Okay, any other further questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, agenda item number 6, presentation of the Texas Comptroller Leadership Circle 2015 Platinum Award.
Did you forget that?
Oh, I sure did. Citizen comments, number 5, moving backwards. Citizen comments. Brief comments concerning non-agenda items. Any comments?
I started this legislative.
Okay, moving on to 6, which was previously stated.
And there it is.
Oh,
Way to go.
there.
Out of all the cities in Texas, Troup was only one of 6 to get that. So,
Awesome.
great job,
That's great.
great job.
1 of 6.
1 of 6.
I was on the internet, Buffy gets the stuff.
I think
Maybe the mayor should take him out for a nice big lunch.
What? They could be. But I think the closest town, Gene told me, was what, Center? The Center to us.
6,000 people.
So we're the smallest also.
That's right. By far.
Oh, you meant the closest as far as population?
Well, the closest in
As
these
far as
cities.
geographically and population.
So, great job, y'all. That is fantastic.
And those cities of that size have 4 or 5 people in the finance department.
Moving on to agenda item number 7, review and consider city financial report for the month of February 2015.
And that report is there. And our cash position is, the actual cash in the bank is $17,000 above what we were last year. But we've already paid for the downtown drainage work, that's $43,000. And when we get reimbursed from TCDC, that will come back to us. So if you add that, what's basically a payable to us, we're $60,000 ahead of where we were at this time last year. And in 2 years ago, we're $233,000 ahead of where we were. So, and the balance sheets behind that, and your income statement is behind that, and the detailed version, I have that, and it's also in your email packet. But I just don't, there's so many pages I don't print. So if any of you want the detail, and the expenses right now are running, we're right on budget with everything, so we're in good shape. And of course, right now, you can begin to tell a little bit about it, because we're 5 months into the budget year, so you can kind of judge where we are.
So we're 5 months in, but you've already gotten almost 60% of the money for the year, correct?
Well,
8.93.
yeah, because your tax money comes in.
Right. So that big push is over now, since it's after January.
Right.
And I know it's on here, but how much is still pending from people that people didn't pay in January? Do you know? Just curious.
We're still,
Uncollected, I guess,
Well, as far as this year's budget is concerned, we're still $62,000 that's out for this year's
For property taxes.
property tax. Of course, what happens during the year is not only you collect this year's, but you also collect past year's.
True.
Any questions?
Oh, real quick, did you see on TV last night, they showed the White House police, they had these cool cameras on their cars that look at every license plate all the way around them. And it pops up, and if there's one that's got a warrant or something, it pops up. So I was wondering, have they approached you on that yet?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Got me bringing stuff up.
Don't give him any
Yeah, they're
ideas.
not-
I mean, it's definitely Big Brother, but it's a good idea, I can see. 'Cause
We don't need him.
they don't even have to punch in the
Do
license
that.
plate, it's just automatic.
We got plenty of people with warrants, I'm sure.
Man, just think of the tax. Finance, probably pay for it, so. Okay.
Any further questions for Mr. Cox? What's the pleasure of the council?
I make a motion, we accept the financial report for the month of February 2015.
Got a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any further questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 8, comments, questions, or input for the city manager's written report.
There's the police report's there, so be sure to take a look at that. And he's got a new reserve officer. And remember last month, I gave you the stuff on the texting and driving and that sort of thing. So you kind of bear that in mind as to whether the council really wants to come back and take a look at any of that. At the end of February, we're at 41.66% of the budget year. The March sales tax numbers will probably be posted tomorrow. That's what happened at last month's council meeting. They were posted the next morning, so we don't know where we are on that yet. At this point, property taxes are about $10,000 more than they were in February of 2014. Sales tax revenues are about $27,000 greater than they were for the first 5 months of this year.
What's that lead to?
Just increased business activity. Every month it's been, for the most part, larger, but there was one month where it was smaller than it was last year. Pretty much the spot was a little larger. And this week, if the weather holds, we're going to be repairing 2 fire hydrants. We're going to have to install valves to do that. And the cost to do that's going to be about $7,600. So valves are about $1,000 piece. They come in and they install those in the live mains. That's an interesting procedure. And in this week's Tri-County leader, Chad Chadwick, he's done a lot of work on his fire hydrants. There's going to be a feature article on him this week's Tri-County leader. He did the Rotary Club program last week. Newspaper picked up on that. It was posted on Facebook, so they could win. Chad's also been responsible for making sure street work gets done and we're getting the materials and things together from the state that we got to pave those roads. Let's see, this month I attended a water asset management training session in Denton. Items stressed at that meeting were drought management of water systems and having a plan for replacing and maintaining the water infrastructure as it ages. Of course, John's already started on that because he picked up those spreadsheets a year or so ago. Of course, what's really interesting about that is the first year you do that, the numbers are very scary. But what they assured us was as you begin to work those infrastructure needs now, those numbers become a little less scary 5 to 6 years down.
Sound like cardboard.
It's like you just pick a, is this where you like pick a street to work on or block?
Now, what you actually do is you go in and grade everything. You go into all your assets, and you actually grade them and determine when they're going to have to be replaced, what the cost to replace.
This is like water and sewer infrastructure, the water infrastructure.
Yeah, so this is just like the plan, this isn't that.
No, you actually go in and look at like a pump, you know, try to figure out when that pump was put in. They know the life of those pumps, so the spreadsheet will automatically fill that life in for you. And then you fill out a cost, and the spreadsheet automatically calculates for you what that pump is gonna cost when you get ready to fix it.
How much you need to set aside today to pay for it?
Okay.
When the cardboard quits.
When the cardboard gets wet, then you get.
And the TCEQ is encouraging water utilities to study the feasibility of having interconnection with another water utility. And that's for drought issues. Last year, the city of Glen Rose almost ran out of water because they only had one source of water, and it went dry. And their approach to fixing that at that time was that they were going to haul water. There's no physical way to, Glen Rose is bigger than Troup. There's no physical way to haul enough water to supply water. So what they're encouraging cities and other water utilities to do is look at ways to tie your water systems together. You know, for example, if Troup were to think about doing something like that, you probably Blackjack's your closest water, Bright City is Bright City is probably your closest water supply system. So you would sit down at some point in time and with them and say, hey, would you like to build a plant where if you run out of water or if we run out of water, we can turn a valve and supply each other with water. And of course, what I'm thinking is this TCEQ is pushing these types of things where they're also not people but able to provide us with some money to do that. And the thing you have to remember is that drought does have an effect on water revenue. On that, there's a little chart back there on that. It shows you the difference between water revenue in dry years and water revenue in relatively wet years. The blue line there is 2012, 2013, which was a dry period of time. And you remember we went in and the water rates were actually less in 2012 and 2013 because it was October 2012 when the last rates raised. So there was only 6 months of water rate increase in that. The red line is last year's water revenue, which was a more moist year. And the important thing to remember about that is even though water rates were increased during that entire period of time before they were in 2012, that your revenue declined. And the green line is this year. So those are just interesting things.
And now we've got 5 inches of rain next week.
Yeah.
Sure won't be.
And the TCEQ performed an inspection of the city's water infrastructure and attached on the last page is a summary of their findings. And if you want the full page report, I can give that to you. I just chose not to print off that much page. And in fact, if you look at your electronic agenda packet, that's and one of their findings was an agenda item for you. I'll be out of the office from April the 12th to May the 6th. And so that means I won't be at the council meeting on the 14th. And I asked Buffy if there was ever any precedent of the city manager not being at the city council meetings. She said, yeah. And I said, well, it was while one was employed or after one was fired. She said, so anyway. And during that period of time, I can be reached by email, and Buffy and the mayor will both have an international cell phone. They will both have that number. I don't mind calls. So anyway, any questions on any of that? Would you like for me to go over those TCEQ findings? Send that report, or not? Or wait until we get down that item?
Just wait till we get over that.
Any questions on
Moving on to agenda item number 9, discuss and consider the approval on second reading of a project by the Troup Community Development Corporation to fund the reimbursement of the city of Troup for $42,122 for drainage repairs and $1,131.90 for engineering fees for the property located at 109 West Duval.
Remember because of the nature of this project, it requires 2 separate readings of approval by the city council. Remember, last month's city council meeting, we approved it on the first reading. And so what we need to do today is if we want the TCDC to pay us this money, then we need to approve it on the second.
I'll make a motion that we ask them again for the approval of the monies to repair drainage and engineering fees.
We have a motion, is there a second?
I second.
A second. Any further questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 10, consider allowing the mayor to execute an order of cancellation by ordinance number 201-50310-01 for the scheduled election for May 9, 2015, ordering the candidates as unopposed and thereby elected.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Second. Any further questions?
Thank you, Chip and Jeff.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 11, discuss and consider approving the City of Troup investment policy.
I prepared an investment policy for the city of Troup. And usually what happens when investment policies are approved by the city of Troup has one, but it was so old that it was not really, it didn't really reflect what the current laws were, and it needed revision, so I just started over from scratch. And the Government Treasurers Organization of Texas will review cities' investment policies. And usually what the city council does is they approve the investment policy and then you send it off to the Government Treasurers Organization of Texas for their approval. I did it the other way around. I wrote the investment policy. I sent it off to the Government Treasurers Organization of Texas. They sent us back a certification that says, and that's, did I put a copy of that in your package? No, that's not.
Oh, you mean this?
No.
This right.
Oh, the letter.
No. Certification. Anyway, they sent us, we have a certification from them. And it's in my package. It spells pretty off. Here it is, we pass it. And this is their certification that they reviewed it. Meets all the requirements of the Public Fund Investment Act. And so you've got two choices tonight. You can either approve it as submitted to you, or you can take it back and read it and be approved or denied it next week. And if you wish to approve it, I have a suggested script there. The main reason for the script is I did not want to stack this investment policy on top of the existing investment policy. So what the motion as scripted, if you choose to use that, does is it does away with the existing policy and replaces it.
And what, just, do you mind just get top line, kind of what this covers, what it says? On
Anything that we invest in. For example, cities are allowed to invest monies in things besides bank accounts. And it's really not a problem for us right now because we don't have a whole lot of money. But what this does is basically, it says in the investment policy that you will not invest in anything the state of Texas doesn't say you can invest.
So if you want to go out and invest the money into lumber liquidators stock today.
And it names the city manager as the investment officer, so that makes me responsible for all of those investments. But the city council has to come back in. And the investment policy has to be reviewed, and if we do have investments outside of bank CDs, the policy requires that every 3 months you have to review all that and make sure it complies with the investment.
You would review that, not
No,
the council.
the council
would
would.
before the council.
If, for example, we went out and bought treasury bills,
Right.
which is a permitted thing, Another permitted thing is Israeli bonds, which is, Israel is the only country that you can buy, that you're allowed to do foreign bonds. But if you wouldn't outlaw either one of those things,
Okay.
you have to give a quarterly report back to the council about how that investment's doing, and make sure it's safe and secure.
So pretty much it's going to limit from any risky investments.
That's right. Like I said, it's something we don't have to approve tonight, but we can come back and look at it later. Because it's a rather lengthy document.
Does anyone want to study it?
I'm thinking if these guys said it's okay, I mean, you're a banker, Bill. You
Yeah,
know different.
and you've sent it out earlier before.
Yeah, it was
And everything,
it was in-
because I've read
it was
it
in this
before.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I move that any previous investment policy of the city of Troup are hereby rescinded, and that the draft investment policy certified by the Government Treasurers Organization of Texas and presented at tonight's council meeting be adopted as the official investment policy of the city of Troup.
Got a motion to second. Any further questions? Okay, all in favor say aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to agenda item number 12. Discuss the funding of moving water lines from underneath Tiger Drive at the request of Troup Independent School District.
Actually, the TCDC approved this as a project tonight, but I didn't have this on our agenda as approving their project. So what you need to do is come back at the April meeting and approve this as a TCDC project. And this is the form that TCDC worked with tonight. And if you remember last month, I gave you a form that had the engineer's estimate on the cost.
I wasn't here last month.
So the second set of sheets is the engineer's estimate of the cost of moving the water line.
Oh, this is, okay.
This is the water line under Tiger Drive. It runs from
Okay.
beside the school down to the.
Okay, I'm still thinking about that project that TC, never mind.
Okay.
Another one.
Yes,
Okay.
so anyway, and the project is going to cost us approximately, by the time you add the engineering fees in, about $74,000. And the school district is going to front the money. And what I've asked the school district to do is if they could give us 3 separate budget years, not 3 years, but 3 separate budget years to pay that money back. So, the school district, the superintendent and I have kind of worked out this formula.
So he's already sort of looking at
Yeah, he said he thought that the school board would go along with it. And 40% would be paid in July this year. And 35% of it would be paid on February 1st of 2016, which that's 2 separate budget years. July 1st is in this budget year, February the 1st is in the next budget year, and October the 1st is in one budget year further out.
it.
Yeah, so anyway, and I felt like that was an easier way to handle this unexpected expense. So what the council needs to do is just take a look at this tonight, and then you'll have to come back next council meeting, because I didn't anticipate the TCDC actually approving it tonight, so I did not put it on the agenda as a TCDC project. So this is pretty much just for informational
So the
purposes.
TCDC has approved it
Yes.
and has the funds to
Yeah.
pay the.
So we do have the funds to do it?
The TCDC.
After buying all half the property here in Troup?
Well, you gotta remember, they financed that property, so the quarterly payment on that property is $1,900 a month.
Yeah, we have, right now, we have about 300,000.
Well, I wasn't here last month, and so can I ask a question?
Sure.
what was their reason? I mean, I know that the streets is, it deteriorates, and I don't, that's not because of that line, but they're gonna replace all the streets anyway, and they wanna move it out of there.
Yeah, instead of blacktop, they want to go in with concrete.
Right.
And of course, if it's blacktop and we dig a hole in it, it's an issue. But if it's concrete and we dig a hole in it, that's another issue. Of course, there was some discussion about whether it was our street or their street. And my position on was it's our water line, but it's your street. If you want the water line out of your street, because I don't want to redo the street, we'll take the responsibility of moving the water line if you'll take the responsibility of the street. And so that's what they're wanting to do. They're wanting to concrete that from Park Drive all the way to the last fire hydrant. By the country club, which is right there in that corner just before you go into the country club.
Right. Just past the last end of the exit to the middle school.
Right. And not only that, but they're going to add some parking lot there, and this line will have to go under that parking lot. So not only we're dealing with that, the existing going under the ground there, but when they put some more parking area down there for the middle school, well, that was going to create additional problems for us. In fact, included in this cost is putting sleeves and things in there to go underneath the existing driveway, so they don't have to tear up their parking lots and their driveways to repair water in place.
It won't be our city doing it, it'll be, it's like turnkey, we're just paying them
Right.
to do.
Because we didn't want to be in a situation where we let the contract and they're wanting this done fairly expeditiously. They're wanting it done by the end of the school year. So we did not want to get into a situation where we had one contract for the water line and there was another contract for their work, and we had two contractors arguing with each other about who was holding up each other's work. So it seemed like the simpler way for us to do it was to let the school bid the project. And the nice thing about it is their engineering firm and our engineering firm are the same engineering firm. So that means one set of engineers is working on it. And basically how they're going to determine the engineering cost is they're just going to take our portion of the project and whatever percentage that is, and that'll be our portion of the engineering cost. Yeah. And of course, the rest of it's pretty easy to figure. It's materials. Right. That's basically what's there.
So we're getting pretty much a new concrete street for about $75,000.
That we don't have to worry about maintaining.
Don't take those speed bumps off.
Right, go bigger.
And what I'm going to have the attorney do when they prepare this document, the interlocal agreement to do all this, I'm going to have also include the interlocal agreement that we give up any claim to that street. And basically, to give up the claim to the street is all the adjoining property owners have to sign off that the city's abandoning that street. But it looks to me like the school's pretty much the single property owner.
And who owns the ball fields? The league fields?
They actually lease those from the city of Troup.
So we own those.
Well, they're under lease, yeah.
Okay.
I think the school has it leased for, 99 years or something like that. That's because when they redid the softball fields, they couldn't spend taxpayer money on something they didn't own, so they had to get the 99-year lease. So they could go in there and they spent $150,000 to do it. Okay.
How much do we get a year?
I can't find any record where we're being paid at all. The last lease agreement.
Well, here, say, hey, we'll trade you the lease.
The last lease agreement I saw was like $25 a year. Well, and actually, what it is the property's actually owned by General Refractories, and the city leases it from them. And then the city turns around and releases it to the baseball association.
And we don't have.
Okay. Any further questions? Okay. Moving on to agenda item number 13, discuss suggested ordinance updates for animal control and code enforcement.
All right. This again is a complicated issue. And we're not asking for any decision on this tonight, but let me kind of cover it these out.
See if they can send men.
So is this like a copy of the one you?
Well, it's copies of everybody's.
Okay.
She's got a little,
That's what Jen said, because you knew dog.
heard of it.
All right. You know, we don't like to build regulations that, that's not our desire, but when problems arise and we realize we don't have any way to address those situations, well then, that's when I start beginning to look at, what do we need to do this. And right now, as far as animal control, the city has no current ordinances regarding odors and that sort of thing. Generated by livestock or poultry. When you have a complaint from a property owner says, hey, my next door neighbor has a bunch of chickens, and those chickens in the summertime are creating odors, and when it rains, I have chicken waste flowing onto my property and pooling and that kind of thing. We don't have any way, there's nothing in our ordinances in addressing these kinds of issues. So, and I asked Johnny to come tonight, and Randy was going to come as well, but Randy's sick, so he couldn't come. So kind of tell him what the complaints that you've had on.
Well, the smell is a great thing. Also, people's concerns are with the poo and, people's grandchildren and all this kind of stuff. But also, like if you have a piece of property and you don't want a chicken house right next to your property, I mean, why would you be forced to deal with somebody else's, stuff that you don't want to be dealing with? So we were looking at some things on like maybe distances from property line to property line to where it would kind of cut down them being able to.
Some setbacks.
Yeah. So that would help quite a lot to cut that down. The communities are getting a little more Hispanic, and I don't mean to be like, I'm not trying to be, I'm just trying to say that the livestock will be an issue, I believe. The goats, chickens, and things like this, we'll have to be dealing with that more readily, I'm pretty sure. So if we can develop something or adopt something that somebody else already has, that they spent money on a lawyer to do, all we have to do is adopt it, maybe it won't cost us very much to do that. I think it would be in our best interest.
So if we want to have a cow in our backyard, there's nothing right now, I guess.
Not really.
There's no, I mean,
Wow.
we are rural, and I would like us, until we're not rural, I would like us to maintain the ability. But I do agree that, if I want a chicken house, it shouldn't sit right on my neighbor's line. And I
And
don't.
maybe you shouldn't have 1,000 chickens.
No, you shouldn't.
Randy
That's
should be amount,
absolutely right. Yeah.
amount of chickens.
So are there people in town with bunches of chickens?
Mhm. Yes.
Like.
Do you remember where Dorothy Satellite used to live?
I don't care.
Right next to them.
Right in the curve, 13, just as the first as you curve like that, her house is right there. And it's real close, the property lines are close on both sides actually. But on that side, going out to town side, it's a mess. I mean, it is a mess.
How many chickens
I don't
could somebody
know.
possibly
They
have?
don't
The
need
pen is just, it's huge. I don't know that it started out that big, but it started out with just a few chickens, I think, and then it became, turkeys and pheasants, and then way high, and then it's created.
And it's really close to her.
It's
It may be right on the line.
Right there on the
So they have a
curve.
swimming pool in the backyard.
The
It's really tough.
Go out down
to be able
like that
to
street,
enjoy
New
themselves
Paltz.
in their own
Just as
way.
you turn there, it's right in
That's
there.
crazy.
And those,
Before the
there's
next
kind of those three properties are pretty much stacked,
Yeah.
so.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's on a slant. And the lady that lives there is named Betty Smith.
But like I said, we've had a lot of complaints from folks in that neighborhood, but there's really no way we can address it because we don't have any, we can't we can't address an issue that we don't have rules about. So anyway, so that's the reason I'm bringing this to. And what there are here are there's animal ordinances from like Kilgore and Longview and Tyler, and actually the most complex animal ordinance is White Houses. It rambles on for 13 pages. So anyway, and then on the last piece is where I've kind of taken our existing ordinances and plugged some of this stuff in. And of course, even Tyler recognizes that you can have animals inside the city limits. It just says if you're going to keep a cow, you can't keep one cow on an acre of land and things like this. And if you're going to have chickens and that kind of thing, then you have to set. Longview is required 100 feet setback. I think Tyler's is 50 feet or something.
You know, they even have ordinances now in Dallas, they keep chickens all over town, but they're a very few at a time and so forth.
And the interesting thing about it is like even in Tyler's ordinance, I believe, or one of them I was reading, even if a person has a project like an FFA project, perhaps it's Kilgore's, the ordinance was designed that it didn't prohibit you from doing that, as long as you just had that animal for that period of time when it was your project. So y'all kind of take a look at this. You know, give us some feedback on how you would like for us to proceed with this, if at all. You know, we can leave things just as they are if that's what you choose to do. And like I said, most of it deals with animals. And then there was, right now, we don't have any requirement that as a property owner that you're required to maintain your property up to the street line. For example, through your bar ditch. Right now, our code enforcement officer cannot write anybody a citation if they want to cut their grass and leave the bar ditch 18 feet high. There's nothing he can do about that. So he would like for us to take a look at it. He put one in here. And down there, he would like, I just copied the whole ordinance, but he would like for us to really consider perhaps enacting something like this section E down here. Where you're regulating the yard all the way. It says the property owner is responsible for maintaining that yard up to the street, and then he can write you a citation, or well, he rarely writes citations. Most of the time, whenever he hangs a tag on somebody's house, it's taken care of. I think Randy's only written 2 citations since he's just very good at talking people into himself.
Is this a separate thing, or do you want us to consider all these and we'll vote on them?
Well, of course, they're actually, the animals are one thing, and then the maintenance of the property. But I want you to consider all of it.
Yes.
But we'll have to do it as 2 separate.
Okay.
The grass and things is one part of our code, and the animals is another part of the code. So anyway, so take a look at this. And none of this is immediate.
We really need to have it in effect for
For
summer.
Don't want somebody shouldn't have to live with a bunch of chickens.
Yeah.
An inordinate amount of time.
I mean, you wouldn't want a mule in a donkey in your window.
The only thing I found universal from city to city as far as animals was concerned is everybody prohibits pigs.
They stay.
Either works for chickens and pigs.
So, well, that was the only thing I could.
But chickens stink too, and I shouldn't, that's my livelihood. You get enough of them.
But I mean, they're
I
not
can tell you.
Yeah.
200,000 of them
Chicken
stink.
house. Let's go in a hen house, chicken house.
Okay. So anyway, so that's what all that's about.
Well, I'm surprised these are not even addressed, so, yeah.
Well, we've been all through our codes. There's nothing in our codes that addresses it.
Well, with ag projects, the school has a farm down there, and they have a poultry science center down there, and a place for cows and goats and pigs, so.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's top of the line. further questions? Okay, moving on to agenda item number 14. Discuss and consider paving Ross Street with an approximate cost of $31,000.
All right.
How many streets up in Tarbuck is Ross?
Strauss is the last street in town.
Past Tarbuck?
Yes, it's where the dumping grounds.
Oh,
And these, Smith County has agreed to pave the street for us at no charge per foot if we will buy the materials. And that they can pave the street to 15 feet wide for a little less than $31,000. That was the quote he gave before the price of oil has dropped. So it might even be less than that. And Lynn Energy operates 7 wells on that street, and they have kindly agreed to contribute $2,000 a well to the paving of that street. So that's $14,000. So basically what we get, this street right now is a caliche street. And when it rains, it gets rather slippery.
it
And
kind
we
of
have,
glitches.
and we have a lot of, that's probably the most complaints we have about any street is probably Ross Street. And if you'll recall, when the city of Troup zoned that area, even though that's the worst street in town probably, that area is zoned single family. And all there is on that street is mobile homes. So basically what you've done is you've taken a bunch of mobile home folks and says we want to put single family homes out here, but we're going to do that on.
So that's the street we had the issue with a couple of months ago.
Yes.
That's
Oh,
right,
okay.
yeah. So anyway, so what I'm suggesting that we do at this time is if Lynn Energy will pay $14,000 to pave it, and I can get the county to pave it with their equipment at no charge except for the cost of the materials. And John says he's pretty sure he can scrape together $16,000 out of our money to do it. I think this is probably the best time we're ever going to see to do that. And it also gives us some standing when people there want changes in the zoning. That we say, well, we put you in a better street than what's here.
Is it gonna be all dirt or asphalt?
No, it's going to be asphalt.
We better jump on that.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Well, of course, the thing about it is we're going to run oil trucks on it. Of course, that's what, when I had the county engineer look at it, I said, what you got to understand is this is oil field traffic. So I need a street that'll handle oil field traffic. So that's what he's quoted me, is a street.
We better jump on that, because that's a deal you can't hardly pass.
We're not going to get there no way. So.
No.
I think we ought to jump on it. I can't believe that the pavement's gonna handle that heavy, those trucks full of salt water or whatever.
Yeah, but I told him, the county engineer, and I talked about that. And I said, well, this street's got it. I said, when you give me this quote, I said, this street has got to be capable of handling this traffic. He said, yes. He said, I saw what's out there. He said, that's what I'm quoting. And of course, it's got a good base.
That caliche base is also, yeah, it's packed good.
Yeah.
So, there's no question about that.
And this is 15, we can do it 15 feet wide. For $24,000, we do it 12 feet wide, but I don't see him reason to do it 12 foot wide.
Let's get it on. Get on. Well, I'd like to make a motion if we're ready. I'd like to make a motion that we could pave Ross Street for the bid cost of $31,000 and let Lynn Energy help us and the county.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second? Second.
Yeah, let me discuss this a little bit. Sure. The only thing is the county engineer needed to double check, and he wanted to see how current our interlocal was for the county. And so he's going to check that out. So we may have to come back at a later council meeting and get you to approve a new interlocal with Smith County in order to do this. And also, I've asked him to a balance rather than the money coming to us and then us turning around and writing a check. Because I just think it's a cleaner transaction for them to pay the money directly to Smith County. So he's checking with the county auditor to see about the mechanics of doing that. Because I never want anybody to say, well, you got this money and you didn't spend it all on this trip.
Right.
Any further questions? Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 15, discuss and consider use of court technology funds to purchase new computer for administrative department in the amount of $650.
In the city secretary's office, we've not been using that computer now for over 2 years. Okay, and that computer is rather old and rather antiquated. And Buffy has hired, she finally was able to hire her a part-time person to work 3 days a week. And so Buffy is moving into the city secretary's office. And we really need to upgrade that computer for technical things that Buffy needs to have done in that office. And there's $850 or so in that. There's $875 in the court technology fund. So, and the council has to approve any expenditures out of that fund, even though it's less than the $7,500 I'm authorized to spend. No matter whether it's 2 cents, it has to be approved by the council.
For Buffy, I'll make a motion that we use court technology funds to purchase a new computer for administrative department in the amount of $650.
Okay, got a motion. Is there a second? Second. Any further questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Agenda item number 16, discuss and consider allowing the city manager to spend up to $20,000 to repair or replace the pump located at the Brandon Street well as per TCEQ requirements.
Okay. When the TCEQ came in and did our inspection the other day, they identified 4 items that they decided as far as we have to, that they want us to correct. And one of those 4 items, let me just address all those and then we'll talk about the The City of Troup water system serves more than 1,000 connections according to the way they have done their calculations, which is kind of new. Before, they did not count the apartments, the apartments, either the senior apartments nor the Elmwood apartments as separate connections. But when they came in and did their inspection this time, they counted those as separate connections. So if they counted those as separate connections, it pushes us past the point where we have to have 2 Class C operators. Is that correct, John? Okay. So they've cited us for having a Class C operator and a Class D operator rather than 2 Class C operators. So we're in the process of getting us another Class C operator, which Johnny's taking the classes to do that. And so we're addressing that concern. They've given us to March the 30th to tell them how we're going to resolve all these issues. So our resolution of this one, we're going to tell them Johnny's taking the class. Okay. Item number 2 is the efficient record keeping and customer service inspections. These are inspections that they have to do to make sure that there's not cross connections between our water system and our sewer system. And we had the records. They just weren't accessible to the inspector.
We didn't know we had it.
Yeah.
Our inspector had it.
Yeah. So anyway, so what we're doing then from now on is we're filing those records in a separate place where they're easily accessible for the inspector when he comes to see. So that will get us in compliance with that. Item number 3 was the leaking service pump at well number 2. That's the $20,000 item. They're out in well number 2. The pump out there is probably 25 years old. It's put in. This is not the submersible pump that pumps the water from the well. This is the pump that pumps the water from the ground storage tank to the elevated storage tank. Okay. And so that pump's been there for 25 years and it's leaking. And they've tried to repair the packing on that pump and that was not successful. So So the TCEQ is, they don't care how we fix it. They just want it fixed. So we've got two alternatives there. We can rebuild the pump, and if we rebuild the pump, it costs about $15,000. And if we replace the pump, it costs about $20,000. So I'm not really excited about rebuilding a 25-year-old pump. And besides that, John indicates to me that there could be problems with how new fittings fit inside the casing and that side of things. So if we just start.
Distortion casing over the 25 years, new person may not fit.
Of course, if you put new insides in a 25-year-old casing and the old casing goes bad, then you're not gaining it. So for the $5,000, I really can't see doing a rebuild on that pump. So my suggestion is that we approve replacing that pump. Of course, and if you approve that tonight, then we can send that to TCEQ as evidence that we're.
Yeah, that money also includes rebuilding the motor, makes it, we'll have, essentially have a brand new pump and motor. It's like a 60 horsepower motor, and they're not cheap.
And we've got the money that it's part, we've got it.
Well, it'll come out of water. The water pump.
Okay.
We're in good enough shape to handle that. And because we've set aside money for repairing that kind of thing in water, so this will just come out. And item number 4 is the coating on the interior beams of the ground storage tank at well number 2 is failing. You know, it's only been like 4 or 5 years ago that we redid the inside of that tank, right?
Less than 5, 3 or 4.
Yeah. Anyway, the tank's coming off with beads on the inside. So TCEQ is not happy with that, so they want us to remedy that situation. So our engineering firm is going to come in and take a look at that and tell us what we need to do to fix that. Of course, when they tell us what we have to do to fix that, I'll probably be coming back again for some approval of what that costs, unless it's less than $7,500. And I would be really surprised if it was less than $7,500.
One other thing on that pump, TCEQ is giving us a deadline of March 30th to have it fixed.
Right.
Not just a schedule, to
Oh,
have it fixed.
well, they fixed it.
We probably won't make that, but I
Yeah.
think we get an extension on that. If we can show we got a pump order.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we allow the city manager to spend $20,000 to repair or replace the pump located, in this case, replace the pump located in the Brandon Street well per TCEQ requirements.
Okay, got a motion, is there a second?
Second.
And we'll order that pump tomorrow, I suppose.
Any further questions? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
There's a couple of piddling things they noted on there. One of them was there was some roof water ponding on top of the tank. So that'll be something I'll have to engineer for look at. And then when they did their video inspection of the tank, of course TCEQ looked at that video inspection. And down on the bottom of the tank, there was a little bit of a silt where the guy could take his finger and run his finger through the silt and it would come up. So that's what that means at the bottom there. So we may have to have the tank cleaned out. Of course, we'll probably have to drain it to fix it anyway.
Yeah.
So that'll cure that in that one time.
Okay, moving on to agenda item number 17, discuss and consider ordinance number 201-50310-02, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Troup, Texas, authorizing the institution of condemnation proceedings, providing for a severability clause, and providing an effective date regarding the property located at 801 West Duval, described as tract 10.245 acres of the William George Survey A-1099 of the Easton G Survey A-10, City of Troup, Smith County, Texas. That's a mouthful.
All right. There's a piece of property that adjoins Dr. Hakimi's claim that nobody has been paying taxes on. In fact, if you go to the county property website, it just shows up as a blank piece of property. And since nobody claims that property, I felt like the city should probably claim that property as abandoned property. And,
It's a quarter acre.
yeah. And, this match shows the property, but while when the surveyor went out there to survey the property, he also found that because of mistakes in previous surveys, there was this triangular piece of property here that nobody owns. Because all the survey marks are here for these lots, and all the survey marks are here for these lots. So there's this piece of property here. And basically, it's a ditch. So if nobody owns it, we might as well own it, because there might be at some point in time that we wanted to run something through that.
Is that along the backside of that?
It's okay, it's kind of like,
We got it.
NDS.
Yeah, the water line, yeah, but it's south of the water line. Yeah,
Duval.
Duval is here.
It's kind of like right by the NDS factory.
It's right in front of
It
you.
is.
Oh,
Yeah. And it actually, our property, that property extends right in the middle of Lee Street.
Yeah.
So anyway, so far what we've got invested in this property is about $1,200 for the survey, and I had to have an appraisal done, because what happens is, once you condemn this property, if somebody comes along later and says, oh, I own that property, you go to court then, and somebody decides whether they own that property or not. And if they own that property, you have to have some value to pay over that property. So I've had an appraisal done, and the appraisal cost us $1,200. So far, we've got $2,400 plus lawyer fees in this piece of property. And the property appraised at $45,000, a commercial piece of property. So if you enact this condemnation, the next procedure is we go and we file that, and then there's a series of processes that have to take place for it to, over a period of time, for it to be condemned. So it's your own choice.
Did y'all want to see this?
And our attorney's already checked with the people that might have owned it at one time, and hasn't been able to find anybody that wants to claim any title to it.
So if I make a motion on it, do I have to read that whole thing? Or?
No, you just read it.
Ordinance number.
Okay.
Because Bill, the mayor's already read it.
so it's more than a quarter.
Yeah, that's asphalt too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all asphalt.
It would be more than a quarter acre.
I think it's 1 1/4. I think that's.
Okay, it says one, I thought that was tract one, and then it's, tract one,
Yeah.
but it's tract one.
No, I think those two, I think it's a 1/4 acre. It's not all that wide.
That's a big parking lot.
Oh, so there's it, okay, it says 0.0732 acres right
So
there.
it's not the whole.
Yeah, see, this is the street, yeah.
Yeah, it is, okay.
This is the asphalt, this is asphalt, this is granite, okay? So this is 0.732 acres, and then here's all these the little.
That's the tree, so it's an
They
acre.
just a tree?
No, it's
It's a
just
quarter
that.
acre.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. so it's-
Bohemian's
Yeah.
office is
Right there.
Here's the house.
You remember the tree that went
Yeah,
down?
all that, see, all this little dotted area is the street. Yeah, and the property line is in the middle of that street.
Okay.
So it's,
Jeff, there was a tree right there that fell just recently,
And we had to cut that
and we
down.
had to cut it down.
It didn't fall tree, we had to cut it.
That, yeah, it didn't fall.
That was the day we had to reroute the traffic, we ended up tearing up some electric service off one guy's house.
I think it's.
Yeah, can I make
Yeah.
can I make a motion that we accept ordinance number 201-503-10-02?
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
We got a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
And we've been working on that probably about a year, I guess.
How did they, or why would they have paved that parking lot? Thinking it was, did they just think it was there?
I think so. Yeah.
NDS?
Yeah.
Well, that's probably it. Gonna be a hassle.
Yeah, that Chinese guy, when he trips out. Uh-oh. Here we go.
All right, agenda item number 18, discuss and consider a proposed water line easement, 10 foot wide, 5 foot each side of the center line for the property located at 806 North Jarvis. Legal description known as Easton G Survey A-10, City of Troup, Smith County, Texas.
This is a line out north of town on Jarvis Street that runs across Stevie Oaks property. And with the line was leaking, we had to go in and do some work on it, so we did some work on it, and Stevie has agreed to give us an easement at no cost. What we did was we wanted to lay the line before we surveyed the easement, because it didn't make any sense to survey the easement and then realize the line might need to jack around something.
What happened was the line originally just kind of angled across the property. We didn't know it was there.
Didn't they run through the
Steve
pond?
started digging the pond, he dug the water. The water line went through, goes right through the middle where his pond is.
So we changed we moved it to the edge of his property line, the best we could. And we had to move it again a little bit because we'd actually gotten it too close to somebody else's property. So that was the reason we saved the easement until we, and Buffy has a copy of the easement ordinance and a copy of the survey as well.
So we're good to go, I mean,
Yeah, if we approve it, then we'll get the Oaks decided. That would be good.
I'll make a motion that we approve the water line easement, which is 10 feet wide, 5 feet each side of the center line, for that property located at 806 North Jarvis, legal description known as Easton G Survey, A-10, City of Troup, Smith County, Texas.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I said,
A second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 19, discuss goals for the city council for the upcoming budget. I brought a whiteboard, that way we can write down everybody's ideas. I know last year, we did write down any goals, but we did have goals. I know one of them was stop the turnover in the police department and was able to give raises. Also, the other one was find out about the discolored water, and we allocated $40,000 to that. But we never did write down that's what our goals were. I think the citizens need to know, hey, we got goals for the town, this is what we want to do. And I'm just going to go through and just ask every one of y'all, what do you think the priority should be for the town?
where are we at on the discoloration of the water? Because I mean, we've talked about it a lot, I know it's a tough problem to resolve, but where are we at?
Actually, realistically,
We haven't made any progress. I felt bad because he just said that.
Yeah, anything,
what,
anything that can be done, we know at this point, I mean, it's cost, it's just.
yeah, I think what Gene told me, he said we could clear it up, but the equipment would cost, how much would it cost to get the clear water? It was like what?
$250,000.
$250,000.
I've been drinking it all.
So we keep that as a
No,
goal.
we're still on.
We brought in the pump tonight, so.
Our $30,000 we set aside to clean up the water is one of them.
So, I mean, what's causing it?
It's the iron in the water.
That's what I saw.
It's the well.
It's just
Right,
the water.
city water.
It's just our water. Get over it. Buy new t-shirts, that's what I have to do.
Some's got, some water's really slow.
Wear yellow underwear.
I mean, you can't do anything about it.
Jim, what's your priority,
That was
coming
one,
year?
that was one that I wrote down, was clarity of the water, clarify the water color. The other one I put was to continue to work on luring businesses and new housing to Troup, to help grow our tax base.
Okay, do you have any others?
Let's let some other people, now make.
Gary, would you have?
Yeah, I've got two. I think, and this came up while I did on the TCDC goal setting, as far as it'd be nice to get rid of houses that are falling down.
Them dilapidated houses?
Yes. You know, everybody knows some examples, so I won't waste time on that. But that's one. And another thing is, and this is just, you're asking for goals, this is thinking big, but it would be great, you know, for like, you know, our streets. I mean, I know John works with what he's got, and everybody does good, but it's just, it'd be nice if we could have the money somehow to be able to use asphalt and to make it look nice when we have to repair.
Well, that's actually one of my goals, is that, in truth, is that we shouldn't have any more dirt streets. Whatever dirt streets we have, we get them paved. And talking to Mr. Cobble and John and everything, said that's doable. You know, that's really doable, especially we get Ross Street done.
That's,
Ross Street's been the thorn.
that's something we won't be able to do in houses. There's no point in putting that, oil sand. If we're gonna pave the street, we need to put asphalt on it.
That's all.
Yeah.
Well, I think covering was kind of,
Yeah.
and of course, we covered most of the dirt.
We cover, yeah, just get rid of dirt, just
Yeah,
cover it with
we-
something there, you know, kind of keep the dust down.
Yeah. Now, when we do Ross, I think we pretty much eliminate all, with the wrap material that we had, I think we pretty much eliminated all the dirt streets in there. What Chad.
Well, one of the goals I think we've met over the last couple of years is never mind, it's just blank as usual. Finances are in such better shape, and that's, to me, that's a
See, I guess we're taking that for granted, so.
yeah, it's one of the things that I think that Gene especially has worked really hard on. And I've been here a long time on the city council, and we have never been so happy about the finance situation, never.
I know I brag on Jimmy all the time, you know, I say most people have a call for cattle for hobbies, but government work is his hobby, and he absolutely loves it, he does good.
He's here on Sunday, it's like here on Sunday afternoon or something.
Well, you gotta remember now, work.
He goes to church.
That's all I'm
Either way, it looks good.
He's thinking about it.
But I don't even know if I should tell y'all this, but the other night I had a dream about Gene that he said he was
No, we
quitting.
don't.
He was quitting to be city manager, and I was telling my wife in a dream, I think I'm about to quit too.
Well, thank you. But it's been a lot of fun.
See, that is not my idea of fun. Now, crunching numbers.
Ms. Wilson, do you have any others?
No, that's it.
How about you, Chief?
Well, pretty much, I think, you know, when you go into a nice town, I mean, the streets have to be nice. And, yeah, if we can maintain and update our streets, I mean, I don't know whether there's grant monies available for little towns to do a street at a time, and maybe over, I mean, we've been on this council now, Jeff, what, 10 years, so, you know, every year, we could have had quite a few.
I think
Streets,
that's been something that
We've always talked about.
yeah, and I just don't know that grant money is available.
Well, indirectly, what you have to do is you have to get grant money for street and sewer work. And streets and, I'm sorry, not for street, for water and sewer work. And when you do water and sewer work, you have to dig up the street. So when you dig up the street to do water and sewer work, you can repair that.
Oh, okay, that's a good idea, John. Get to work on that.
Start dating.
They work too.
Yeah. But I've got the same things that everybody else has. I've got, you know, encourage, you know, new housing and business. I got, you know, clean up the city, the abandoned housing trailers, and be stricter on upkeep of property and trash and stuff like that.
See, zone enforcement was one of mine, because I know Green does a great job, but in riding along with him, his budget's so tight, if he needs to put a tax lien on somebody's property, that's $250, $250 he don't have. So.
And I know it costs the city what to drag off these old trailers, you know.
See, like a dilapidated house, or, you know, they did a testing, about every one of them has asbestos, and their estimate was $8,000 to tear them down.
But the only thing is, as long as the property is not commercial and there's no grant money involved, we really don't have to worry about that asbestos. So we're good to go on that.
That's good.
You mean you tear it down and don't have to do the abatement?
That's right. As long as it's not commercial property, or as long as there's not some grant requirement that you have to do grant, you have to do asbestos.
Just wear a mask.
I think that's where you got the problem. The problem before we're trying to use that grant money was that the grant requirements required asbestos abatement. There's not actually, the rules of residential property are not the same as they are on commercial property. If you have commercial property, even if you go into a renovation, you've got to do asbestos. No matter how small it is. As long as it's residential property, and as long as you're not getting grant money from somebody to do it, it says you have to abate the asbestos, there isn't any requirement. The main cost to doing that is you've got to get the condemnation done. And then number two is the cost to bring in the equipment to haul the stuff off. And that usually takes, in talking to Republic, that usually takes between 4 and 6 dumpster loads to do that with an average size house. So you're looking at $250 to $300 in dumpster. So you're $1,000 or so there. What I plan to do is that I've talked to Jody some. Of course, they do that sort of thing in Jacksonville. But Jacksonville has an advantage, and Tyler has an advantage there because they don't have to pay the dumping fees. See, not only is there the charge for us for the container, there's also dumping fees involved in that. And Jacksonville has an advantage there because they don't have to pay dumping fees for the landfill down in Jacksonville. So we have to recover not only cover the cost of the dumpster, but we also have to cover the dumping fees. And so anyway, and Chandler's just got to be doing some substandard housing demolition. So I'm gonna talk to them and see if I can get some free information from them as well, some shortcuts that they might do that. Of course, you've got to be very careful when you're destroying people's private property because you've got to do that. You've got to make sure you're on good legal ground. Sure.
So, do you have any, what are your goals? You work with the city every day.
Yeah.
What's your,
Well, my goals are not too much different than yours. The only thing that I can see that we've got coming down the pipe that really concerns me is the old water tower. Okay, it's going to cost us about $30,000 to take that down, correct, John?
Yeah.
Okay. And so anyway, at some point in time, that could perhaps become a liability that we need to deal with. So the sooner we can get that liability, you know, that's something that doesn't really do us any good until it gets to the point that it starts to fall down, and then it becomes a liability issue for us. And to me, it just looks, a town with an old water tower sitting in it just looks like a town with an old water tower sitting in it.
my mother's house is near that water tower,
Yeah.
so I don't want to fall.
So I think that's something we really need to take a look at. And of course, that $30,000 even includes people tearing it down and getting the steel out of it, correct, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Salvaging,
yeah.
we're not using it at all now.
No, not at all.
You ever thought of, we used to have like a Troup day where we had a band come in and, you know, cars and just
They had a-
an event.
Lignite Festival, it used to be, and then it was called,
With this Shrine Music Fest that's supposed to happen next month.
Yes.
You know, Cleveland Donald has, the Bellamy Brothers and a bunch of,
Where's that at?
supposed to be out this place.
I'm not Bill Malley.
really?
He's expecting about 100,000 people.
Google Texas Woodstock.
Texas Woodstock.
Huh.
They had Loretta Lynn come in, but she couldn't, the nursing home wouldn't let her spring.
That'd be interesting.
Well, it sounds like most everybody, would they agree, say streets is probably a good party. I wanted to get just 3. I didn't want to overwhelm Gene, but I know he said streets was one of his priorities.
I think streets, water, and sewer kind of go together, public works.
Infrastructure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the things we're gonna try to get grants for from this TCDC project.
And that, that's pretty much what came out of all those TCDC meetings, was that infrastructure was the things that the public did. So the council goals are not different from
Right.
Those kinds of things the public can see, streets.
Well, nice streets just means you have money and it just really
I've been
makes a
told.
difference.
Well, I mean, like you drive from Texas into Louisiana, you have no doubt when you're in Louisiana.
Mhm.
Okay, the water tower, I hadn't even considered the water tower coming around,
it's been on my mind for 2 years.
It's gonna make it.
No, you're gonna worry about it, Bill.
but do I?
No, you're gonna worry about it.
Yeah. $30,000, and like I said, I think that improved looks of town. Well, what do y'all think? You think that should be a priority, or we should wait?
I guess it's gonna be a priority whether we want it to be or not.
Like I said, I hate for it to fall.
If Gene's worried about it, we should worry about
And he's been working for 2 years. We'll go ahead and mark that. Okay, now last one, we've got,
We're not doing any maintenance on it or anything, so, so that, and we don't want to spend any money on maintenance on it, because that'd be absolutely counterproductive.
okay, we got left water, business and housing, the dilapidated houses, and finances. On the finances, we could.
Kind of done.
That was,
Yeah.
that's a positive.
We could do, like finances, maintain sound financial practices, we have been, that sounds like a good goal to me. I mean, Gene does that in his sleep. So how's finances sound? Y'all do finances or one of the others?
Well, I think we
Carol.
Carol.
I'm speaking for Carol, but I think she really put that up there as saying this is something that she's seen
Yeah.
positive.
It's a goal
and it
that we've
really
already
would-
done.
Yeah,
So that was a positive.
yeah, but I think we should maybe maintain it. I mean, that is a good goal to have.
it. The hard work's been done, because Gene's done all the hard work, it's just got, easy for me to say.
Businesses and housing, I think we ought to start stressing that, especially if we get some streets.
Because that'll take care of the finances if we can get
Yeah. If
some
we
new
get some
housing
streets
and new
done,
developments
we're
and
gonna be able to probably.
get a bigger tax
somewhere.
base. That will really,
What you've got to realize about the finances, that hasn't been a one-man show on that deal. I've got department heads that I don't have to beat down all the time that are trying to spend money that we don't have, Nobody comes to me begging for anything that.
It's outrageous.
That's right, yeah. Everything that comes to me is something we'll legitimate need. Now, the other thing you'll have to remember as a goal for this next year is this additional SRO officer. And of course, that, you might as well go ahead and put that up there because that's going to be a cost to us. And that might as well be one of our goals because the school's already said they want that and the chief wants that. So that gives him his extra officer at a cost of about $15,000 added to our budget. So I think we're going to need to add that.
I know that's always been a concern that, like I said, we have one officer at night, and when he has to transport somebody to Smith County, Troup doesn't have anybody, unless there's a deputy or they call R. But during the summer now,
You weren't here last month when we talked about this, all right?
No.
Okay, okay. The school has been debating about how to make the school more secure. And they've come to the conclusion that the way to do that is to add an extra person. And right now, our SRO costs the city about $25,000 a year. But if we add an additional SRO officer, that officer won't cost us that much because our existing school resource officer is, he has a lot of experience and he's very high pay scale because he has all these certifications. A new SRO would probably be a lower pay scale. so it won't cost us as much. Remember last year we were talking about adding an officer, was going to add a lot of money. So, and that, what they'll be able to do is they'll be able to put one SRO officer at one campus and the second one at the second campus. So both campuses will have a live body as a security officer.
And the school system has a lot of money, and they've brought up 2 opportunities for us today to spend our money.
Yeah.
And I want to say that if the school system wants another officer, that they should pay, they should pay for it. I think we need to, until our population increases, we need to maintain the staff levels that we have now and not increase our outlay of funds. That would be my position.
See, the school pays 75% for the officer right there. And during the summer, spring break, we had him. And,
He's like getting a new police officer, basically. Our take on it was we're getting a whole new police officer, but for only 15.
Well, and see,
Well, only $15,000. We're going to get a new street for only $75,000. So, I'm just,
See, I said that very same thing last week.
I just feel like the school
That's
system
not, but.
must not, they don't realize that.
But they're short, they need somebody, there's only one guy here on the weekend. That's kind of dangerous.
see, if the school paid for it all. they
And
might
that
not
person
share.
would be there, so we could have 2.
well, of course, there's legal problems with the school paying, because that officer, for him to function appropriately, the reason they call them SROs is because they have to be operating under a law enforcement license. They can't operate as strictly as school security guard. So that's the reason that concept came into being. If you remember the other day when they had the shooting of the constable in Tyler, the SRO in Lindale, because she's his wife, is being investigated because they're concerned about some of the statements she made. And she's operating under the Smith County Fire Marshal's as a part of his staff, so he's the one that's investigating the case. So that's right.
But some school systems have their own police force.
Yeah.
Tyler Independent School District has a police, they have, I may be wrong, but I believe I've seen that, TISD police. Is that?
I'm not sure you'd have to ask Pat what they can and cannot do. Because I don't know the answer to that.
But I don't think there's any way we hire a new officer for just 15,000. And this way we can. And talking to the officers, it's
I'm not
summertime.
sure, I understand that, but I'm going to step out and be unpopular and say, I'm not sure we need another officer. We've got way more officers than we used to have. Now, I know we had some problems because of our police force many years ago, but there are citizens in town that would say we got enough.
Yeah, my main thing is I want the city unprotected in town. We had an Officer Murray here, and he was talking about sometimes when we have to transport people, and he'd spend his whole shift in town. And that whole shift, that nobody was in truth, and that's what I was.
I understand. I know it would be unpopular, and
So it's your opinion,
Yeah, that's why we're doing this. All right, so we got streets, water tower, and the additional officer. What do y'all think the third one should be? Well, like I said, we got water tower, streets, looks like everybody agreed on it. Jeff, what do you think the third one should be?
it shouldn't be an issue.
I still think it ought to be business.
If you ask me, that was one of how business and housing would be. And I'm not, that is a goal, but I'm not sure that we can affect that I'm not sure how that happens. It's kind of like setting a goal, I'm going to be better looking. It's probably not going to happen. But,
But yeah, like this, I don't see how we can affect that.
But yeah, let me kind of tell you how developers view Troup, from my understanding that I've been able to get. You know, we often wonder why Bullard is developed and White House is developed. Troup is not. Of course, I have one theory about that, but developers also tell us something else. My theory is that the Troup is hindered because of the lack of the 4-lane road.
Because of the lack of,
The 4-lane road between Tyler and Troup. Okay, if you look at those areas developed, whether it be Lindale or whether it be Bullard or whether it be White House, there's 4-lane roads to those.
Well, they're a lot closer,
Well, yeah, but nevertheless, that 2-lane road is one of the, to me, it's kind of like geography. That's the problem. And number 2 is the developers, it costs them just as much to build a house in Troup as to develop a subdivision in Troup as it would to develop a subdivision in Bullard or in White House. The disadvantage that Troup has is the average home value in Troup is $63,000. The average home value in Bullard is $180,000. The average home value in White House is $150,000. So what happens is if you come down to Troup and put in a subdivision, your market's not the same as it is in Bullard and White House. Our low property values hurt our ability to compete for developers' interest. So that's an issue we've got. I'm not sure how we address that issue.
not either. I mean, without a, you know, if Tyson Foods would come out here just outside of town, build a chicken plant that employs, you know, 3,000 people, then sure, then we're going to experience some growth.
Right.
You know, we're going to suffer until I feel like until Tyler forces people out here, until, you know, it grows this way. And it's nearly the White House, and, you know, it's nearly, I wouldn't say it's nearly the Bullard, I guess, but it won't be in my lifetime, I'm afraid.
We know, like Chip said, when we come in the Troup, you know, the street say something, but you know, also like the old dilapidated houses like Randy, you know, I'd like to give him some more teeth if we could. I know he's good about working with people, but, you know, if he'd be able to put a tax lien or 2 on some people and kind of get their attention, I feel like that would really help. What do you think, Jim?
I think we could probably budget $5,000 for him to maybe take a house or 2 down.
What's everybody's thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
Yeah, because I think once we do that, it gets in their back of their mind that we can do that. And maybe I better do something else.
You okay with that?
Yes.
How about you? Jim?
Sure.
Okay. So, looks like we got streets, take down the water tower, and we ran $5,000 more. Now, I did ask all the department heads, I asked John what he wanted, and he wanted the screen that was only $200,000.
You don't want to ask John what's up to his.
So after they picked me up off the floor.
I'm taking care of 5 things.
5 mil?
So that's our 3 goals right there. I appreciate everybody's input on this and everything. And we'll work them all up, and that way citizens know what we've got planned for everybody. Sorry it took so
So you're
long.
gonna put that in the paper and everything?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Right.
Need all your signatures.
David notarized. All right.
Well, what would it be like to maybe bring people down here to Troup? I don't know whether they get, I mean, I'm just talking about the Troup Day or bringing in a good band or something and floating
Yeah, we got it.
something just to build some excitement about Troup. Maybe bring people down here and they say, well, I like this little
Because, you know, we got,
Too
on the
big
good
town.
side, on the good side, we got lots of historic homes, like you got Old House, Ripley House, and Jeff Hyde.
There's some really nice neighborhoods in this
Yeah.
town, like, you know, like White House is all like suburbia.
Yeah,
Yeah, but we
do
have
have
some nice
character. Yeah.
Well, this music Fest. I'm not sure how many people's gonna come, you know, Tudor said 25,000, but, you know, I've got to see it first, you know, that many people coming. But also, I remember Suzanne Loudon, she mentioned something, the venue out going toward Gould. It's a place where you can have weddings and events. And I haven't been out there, but that's a good way to get people to come to town for weddings and other events. I mean, there's just all kind of little things that I guess we need to get out there.
But of course, to have an event, you're gonna have to need somebody to take that on and promote that. That, you know, that, of course, that was great. The Troup Fest it was successful. There was always a person that was
Headed that.
It was and knew how to get those acts in here and how to have the stage.
Who was that?
It was Jill Wall.
I wonder if she's kidding the Leanne one.
I have no idea.
There we go. Jackson.
Well, again, I thank everybody for bringing their goals and everything, and now we're going to move on to agenda item number 20. Comments, input from council, mayor, or city manager concerning items of interest or items for a future agenda. Main thing I just wanted to mention is, I don't know if y'all got this, but I was hoping Mr. Carlisle would be here about, he's going to build a home for a veteran, and I thought that was a great thing for him to do. And, like I said, I just wanted to tell him I was really pleased with, you know, them giving back like that.
I got an email from the Nacogdoches city officials today, and I forwarded that to everyone. It's on the Senate bill. There's been some concern for the cities, and so they were encouraging. You felt like you wanted to say something about that.
They pulled it off, I had a little discussion with my friend in the Capitol this weekend, and they pulled it off of the agenda, is that kind of?
You pulled it out of the committee, and they said the reason they pulled it out of the committee was because they couldn't get a good firm cost estimate from the controller as to what the cost would be. And also what happened in the last couple of days, several large Texas businesses have come out against it as well. You know, I don't know if you realize it or not, but the businesses in the state of Texas pay 61% of the property tax. Of course, basically what was going to happen to them, they felt like, was that was going to shift more of that burden. And does everybody have an understanding of what that bill was? It moved our rollback rate from 8%, which is what it is now, to 4%. And right now at 8%, the citizens can petition. If you raise the tax above 8%, the citizens can petition for election to roll that back. But under the bill as proposed, it was a 4% rollback, but then a mandatory election. Okay. So that, you know, that was the two main things. And of course, up until the last couple of years, Troup has consistently raised its tax rate a little bit below the rollback. And what happens with rollback rates? Rollback rates were designed to keep tax rates down. And actually what's happened with rollback rates is it actually increases the tax rate because everybody is so scared that if they put off raising taxes and there's some kind of calamity comes along and they need to, they're not going to be able to do that anymore. So what my theory is about rollback rates is because cities and counties are always, the school districts are always afraid of that they tend to push their tax rates up towards that rollback rate. Of course, the last 2 years we haven't done that because I kind of specifically wanted to kind of hold us where we were. But if something happened that we were in a bind, it might come. For example, the year before I became mayor in 1983, Troup was involved in the federal lawsuit. And they could not borrow money to hire an attorney. So what they had to do was they had to spend $90,000. They had no insurance to cover the attorney because the reason they got involved in the lawsuit to begin with because they had dropped their liability insurance. Of course, when you're in business, you kind of think of those things. But when you're in the public arena, you kind of have to think yourself down the road too. So what happened to the city of Troup that year is they had to pay $90,000 for that attorney in 1 year. And the rollback rates were not in effect at that time, so the city of Troup wisely, instead of borrowing that money, chose to assess that cost all in 1 year, which created a heck of a backlash, of course, for the city council. I don't think there was anybody left standing on the city council thereafter, but it actually was the wise, Ken Berry had just come in as city manager, and he was the one that suggested they do that, and he kind of sacrificed his council over that, but it was actually the smart thing to do. Of course, in today's environment, you would never be able to make that decision to do that, because it's just not politically viable to do that, because what he did by doing that cost all in 1 year, he saved multitudes of thousands of dollars in future years. So while many times laws are good intentioned, I think sometimes they reap results that probably are the kind of opposite of what they
Is there any other comments? Okay, move to agenda item number 21, adjourn. Is there a motion?
motion, no, you adjourn.
Got a motion? Is there a second? Okay, any further questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Or adjourn.